Hey guys, John from fly@mikealpha.com, and today we're going to be talking about special emphasis areas, specifically runway incursions, and how not to end up like these guys right here. So how they're defined, the contributing factors to them most often, and most importantly, what we can do as pilots to prevent these from occurring. We'll get right to it. So oftentimes we think of runway incursions as this right here, two aircraft taking off on crossing runways and nearly hitting at the runway intersection. But there's actually a specific definition that the FAA looks for to define what a runway incursion is. Just for fun, let's check in with George Carlin and see what his take is.
Here's one they just made up. Near miss. When two planes almost collide, they call it a near miss. It's a near hit. A collision is a near miss. Look, they nearly missed.
Now let's go ahead and check out what the actual FAA definition is. As it's written by the FAA, it's any occurrence at an airport involving an aircraft, vehicle, person, or object on the ground that creates a collision hazard or results in loss of separation with an aircraft taking off, intending to take off, landing, or intending to land. So I know that's a mouthful, but basically anything that's going to interfere with an aircraft when it's getting close to a runway or is going to be entering a runway, something along those lines, that is a runway incursion. So 7 types of common pilot surface deviations. We're going to be taking off without a clearance, take off on the wrong runway or taxiway even, people mistake a taxiway as a runway, landing without clearance, landing or taking off below weather minimums, landing on the wrong runway at the wrong airport or on a taxiway instead of a runway, entered a taxiway without a clearance, or careless and reckless operation. So that basically covers all the other ones. If you're acting carelessly or recklessly, you're certainly more likely to make a wrong turn or go somewhere you're not supposed to be. The contributing factors they identify to runway incursions are typically complex airport layouts. High traffic density increases the pace for air traffic controllers and pilots and can make people flustered and make mistakes. Pre-takeoff tasks on many aircraft have increased now with autopilots and FMSs that must be programmed, and that can often distract pilots, and they may slip off the brakes, roll onto a runway, or think they're already cleared for takeoff and take off without a clearance. Lack of standardization and use of checklists. So this is what applies most to us in GA. So the most likely cause for an error in general aviation is going to be a lack of standardization and a lack of use of checklists. That's why checklists is another special emphasis area all on its own. And then, of course, improper CRM or improper cockpit resource management. And what we mean by that is simply not utilizing yourself and the other people in the cockpit with you to help you maintain positive control of the aircraft and avoid runway incursions. Maybe you could ask your passenger to confirm for you that you're clear to land, or you could ask your passenger to confirm that you're not rolling when you're looking down at a checklist during your run-up and you're not accidentally rolling across a hold short line. So improper CRM is certainly a big one, along with those use of checklists and standardization in the cockpit. So now the most important part for us as pilots, how are we going to avoid runway incursions? What are we going to do to avoid having this happen to us? Well, step 1, let's read back all runway crossing and or hold short instructions.
Cherokee 07 Whiskey, roger, runway 32 full length, taxi via Alpha, hold short of runway 4.
Runway 32 full length, taxi via Alpha, hold short of 407 Whiskey. Not only do we want to read back all runway crossing and hold short instructions, we also want to review airport layouts as part of our pre-flight planning and before descending to land. So when you're still up at your cruising altitude and you have time, that's when you want to be reviewing your airport diagram and airport layout before you get busy in the descent and approach to landing. Also, before you ever taxi, make sure you brief that taxiway diagram. Brief what you just got from the controller and make sure you're following the right taxiways and you understand what it should look like from the map to what it should look like out your windscreen. If you're ever not sure, stop while you're taxiing and look at your map, your airport diagram, and then try to confirm that way. Never look at the taxiway diagram while you're rolling. Always be at a complete stop when your eyes are not outside the cockpit. Also, a good idea is to try to mount that airport diagram a little bit higher in the cockpit. Don't put it on a knee board. Put it up on a yoke clip, or even higher, suction cup it to a window somewhere that's not obstructing your view, but is more out of the corner of your eye so you can quickly glance at it without having to take your eyes off the taxiway.
Sarasota to ground, Cherokee 07 Whiskey, clear runway 14 at Charlie 2, taxi Retrix north.
Cherokee 9907 Whiskey, Sarasota to ground, taxi to Retrix north, via straight ahead on Golf, left on Hotel Foxtrot.
Straight ahead on Golf, left Hotel Foxtrot, 07 Whiskey. All right, so that checks out with what we expected, what we looked at our map and expected to get.
Also, know your airport signage. So if you're not familiar with the basic airport signage, that's a very easy way for you to make a mistake, and you can check out this video right here in the middle, give that a click, and that'll take you to a basic video about basic airport signage. Make sure you review NOTAMs for runway and taxiway closures, as well as construction areas at your home airport and the airports you're going to be visiting. So that way you know you're not going to wind up on a closed runway, closed taxiway, or in a construction area that you're not supposed to be in. Never hesitate ever to ask for progressive taxi instructions from ATC when you're unsure of the route. They're there to help you. This falls back into the CRM portion, the cockpit resource management. Use the resources that you have available and use ATC to help you. If you're ever unsure, ask for progressive taxi instructions. Even if you've already begun your taxi, you can ask for it halfway through and they'll be happy to guide you.
If we were unsure in any way, shape, or form, if we didn't know where Golf started or ended or how to get there or where we were even, we would just say, I'm unfamiliar with the airport and I'm requesting progressive taxi. There's the ground. Cherokee 07 Whiskey is unfamiliar with the airport. Request progressive. And they will give you step-by-step instructions. They'll watch you every step of the way, make sure you don't make a wrong turn somewhere.
Make sure you always check for traffic before crossing any runway hold line or before entering a taxiway. So slow down as you approach an intersection. Better yet, come to a complete stop and clear left, right, and center before proceeding through that intersection, whether it be a taxiway intersection or runway intersection. Think about turning on all your aircraft lights while you're taxiing. This makes you more visible to other aircraft and also makes you more visible to ATC, and they might be nice enough to key up the mic when they notice you about to make a wrong turn and tell you before you have a pilot deviation. So turn on all those lights while you're taxiing. At night, think about maybe turning the strobe lights off while you're taxiing so you don't distract other pilots coming into land. But any time you get near a runway, turn on those strobe lights. And also at night, never line up in the center of a runway when you're given line up and wait instructions. Always line up slightly off center. That makes you, as a small aircraft, small GA airplane, much more visible to other aircraft landing. And if a controller does make a mistake and clear an aircraft to land on the runway that you're sitting there on waiting to take off of, you'll be more visible to that aircraft, and hopefully that other pilot will catch ATC's mistake and go around rather than landing on top of you. When you're landing, clear the active runway as quickly as possible, then wait for taxi instructions before further movement. So get off the runway safely and quickly, and then do not let those wheels turn again until you have taxi instructions, a taxi clearance to wherever it is you're going. Make sure you get your tail across the hold short line and stop there.
Go ahead and slow down, and we'll make Charlie 2 here on the left.
Delta.
And if we don't get instruction, we can turn off at whatever taxiway we'd like. We just want to vacate that runway as soon as practical.
Study and use proper radio phraseology as described in the AIM. So on the back of the FAR AIM, read up on that and make sure you're always using proper phraseology. Controllers sometimes do not, pilots often do not. This is what will lead to confusion and possible runway incursions. So use proper phraseology and try to demand the same amount of air traffic controllers. If you're speaking properly, they're more likely to as well. Also, write down your taxiway instructions, then read back to confirm. So never write anything down while the aircraft is rolling. Make sure you write it down as they tell it to you and then read it back to confirm it. Once you have that, then you have a clear spelled out plan, your directions written down that you can stop and refer to if need be while you're taxiing. Lastly, we want to talk about hotspots. So not every airport has hotspots, although most airports have places that are a high-risk area for a runway incursion or a possible collision between aircraft. They're not always going to be labeled. For example, here at Venice Airport, KVNC, we don't have any hotspots, even though we have intersecting runways and intersecting taxiways where it's likely to have conflicts between aircraft. The reason we don't have that is because we simply just don't have a published airport diagram from the FAA. Now let's go a little bit north of us up to Sarasota Airport, where we do have an airport diagram. And on that airport diagram, we can see 2 intersecting runways and this little mark here labeled HS1, it's hotspot 1. That's where pilots are very likely to make mistakes. More than likely, there's been several pilots who have made mistakes in that area and gotten into trouble for it. And so you should pay special attention to that area of the airport. Not that other areas don't deserve more attention as well, but this one in particular is a high likelihood of having a runway incursion or a possible pilot deviation, either due to land and hold short operations or simply intersecting runways in taxiways that may be confusing for pilots. That's all we got for you guys for runway incursion avoidance techniques. Make sure you check out some of our other videos here and also subscribe to our YouTube channel so you can keep up with all our latest episodes. Check out all the different special emphasis areas, especially if you're getting ready to go for a check ride. Make sure you give us a thumbs up on our video. And if you have any questions at all, leave them in the comments below. You can click subscribe here off to the left and also check out our Patreon page here to the left. That's how we fund all of our videos and we greatly appreciate all your support. Thanks for watching, guys. We hope you get to fly every day, and if not, then fly8mikealpha.com. See y'all next time.